Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Hat and Beard Show. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we love about you guys. Micah Parsons, breaking big news out of the NFL. Micah Parsons wants out. We're going to look at what his agent has to say about his Cowboys contract negotiations between potential future Hall of Famer Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys after we're done caressing the wrinkly ball sack of the national news algorithm. We're going to walk on over, and there is a secret war. Detroit Lions secret war happening at Lions camp. What could that possibly be? Is it something the Hat and Beard has been pointing his finger at for the last couple weeks? Did we have our finger on the pulse this entire time? We'll discuss. Thanks to coming at us from A to Z Sports. Before the lead off, he was the thumbnail boy. Dolphins encounter, quote, frustrating day at joint practice. This isn't coming from an Detroit Lions media outlet. That is coming from NFLnews.com. That's right. We're going to be looking at it from a Nick Shook, around the NFL writer. We'll take a look at the video there. But, boys and girls, sounds like the Miami Dolphins had their hands full. A handful of players up to and including our boy Amon-Ra St. Brown seem to have his way with the Miami Dolphins. So then we'll look over here at Pride of Detroit. We're going to get a little bit of our biased take on it from Jeremy Reisman. You can catch Jeremy Reisman Friday over at Roar of the Lions UK. We'll talk about that charity that they're doing. But what are Dolphins writers saying about Lions' dominant joint practice? A breakdown of what Dolphins reporters are saying about the Detroit Lions after day one of joint practices. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We will then be going over to more DetroitLions.com. Tim 20, Tim 20, man. Lions, Dolphins, joint practice. Day one observations. We love Tim 20 man's work, and we love the work that he does with his observational takes day to day at training camp. Keeps us in the loop. Shout out Tim 20 man and all the work that he does. There is a poll up in the chat this morning, guys. Does Micah Parsons rep the star in 25? Meaning, does he play for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys? Or does he end up someplace else, or does he just sit out? Does he just say, you know what, get bent? I have a Hall of Fame pedigree, and I can do what I want. We gave you 4 options. Yes, Dallas cannot let him go. 75% of you saying that Dallas cannot let him go, and I would be inclined to believe you and agree with you. The Dallas cannot. That would be one of the dumbest decisions the Dallas Cowboys have ever made in their entire franchise history. No! Jerry as a tool has 0% of the vote. 25% you say Jerry's eyes are too far apart. My eyes aren't too far apart. If you guys get that joke, let's go ahead and show you there. South Park, there he is. There's South Park's take on Jerry Jones. My eyes aren't too far apart. There you go. Mr. My eyes aren't too far apart. My eyes aren't too far apart. And then 0% of you say, bring him to America's real team, meaning the Detroit Lions. We don't have the cap room or the capital to go after a guy like Micah Parsons, but boy, isn't it a fun thought exercise to imagine the mayhem that Hutch and Micah Parsons could do. Oh, it'd be a 2-man wrecking crew. Let's go, guys. I appreciate all of you tuning in. How we doing this morning? Brent, Sam, Motor, Mr. Detroit City. How you guys doing this morning? Let's go. Dumpster Fire, Dolphins. That's it, dude. Brent DeWitt, dude. It's we read a story earlier on this year, if you guys recall, that talk about Asante Samuel Senior talked about on his podcast about the Dolphins are a soft franchise. It's more or less the inmates are running the asylum down there. Lions like the taste of fish. Damn straight we do. And until now, the only thing that we have to worry about is if the Dolphins were to organize, develop their intelligence, develop some type of reverse breathing apparatus where they could, or some type of oxygen system so that they could get on land while maintaining moisture, then them and their dolphin friends build up a beachfront and then eventually overtake your lion forces. Let's see if we can find that real quick. Yeah, dude, you know what movie I'm talking about, Mr. Detroit City? Dolphin Beachfront. New guys? Other guys. The other guys. is. Yeah, Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell's a douche nozzle, but, you know, it is what it is. Think we're going to get copyrighted on this? You know what line I'm talking about here? Internet's taking too long. You know what line I'm talking about, though. No tatas, Brent. Nah, we're fading the tatas for a little bit. I like how ALC fell off the pole again. Hope her butt teeth. Or her buck teeth. I read it as butt teeth. I hope her butt teeth are okay. Butt teeth, buck teeth. What you gonna do? She's Manhattan's maiden, but she's got some big old fucking titties on her. Let's go. I know it was a scrimmage, but when you put our dudes, it's belts to ass, dude. Oh, Sam, ain't that the truth? Isn't that what Grant Stewart was saying yesterday in an article that we covered? Where he's just like, they don't know what's coming. They don't. Omar's coming. Omar's coming. That's all that needs to be said. When you come into the Motor City, scrimmage, preseason, or regular season, Omar's coming, baby. And we're here to kick ass, bro. So, guys, now that we've kind of worked through everything in the beginning, if you haven't already, press all my bells and ring my buttons. Go ahead and assault the like button. Hit it with the 2-piece in your biscuit on your way over to the subscribe button where you can become part of the Hat and Beard Show. We are 12 subscribers away. 12. From hitting that 700 mark. When we hit 700, well, achievement unlocked, and you guys will then get to start welcoming people from a dual streaming option. We have yet to decide. We'll probably be talking it over with those of you guys that are regulars in the chat, as well as I'm going to get my basically, I'm just going to ask Chase what to do because he knows what to do. Should we take this? Because eventually we're going to go to 3 streaming platforms at the same time: YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. I am inclined to first unlock that door to Rumble because I think that suits us a little bit better. I also already have a Rumble account with some Detroit Lions content back when YouTube allowed dual uploading to Rumble and YouTube at the same time. They no longer do that. You have to do it manually instead of auto. So I'm thinking once we hit 700 subscribers, we're going to go to Rumble as well, and we're going to start dual streaming to Rumble and YouTube. And I'm sure YouTube doesn't like me using the words Rumble right now, but Rumble, 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 free speech Rumble, let's go Rumble. So I would, real quick though, all of you guys been lifting, doing a ton of sharing, getting this out there. I don't know which one of y'all, but I'm pretty sure it was one of you, Mr. Brent DeWitt, or Mr. Detroit City, that ended up sharing this video or our channel out with Roar the Lions UK. We've been shouting them out all week. Mostly because of the charity that they're doing, but I do want to appreciate those of you from the wrong side of the Atlantic that have come over and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you guys. If you ever want a taste of freedom and to see what it's actually like to be a autonomous individual, and you need to escape the fallen state of the United Kingdom before ultimately launching a crusade to take back your ancestral home, come on over here to the U.S., see what it's like. We have a ton of freedom. It's big. We have big portions, big country, big skies, and we have freedom dispensing pills that we like to exercise our rights with. So come on over. But I appreciate you guys getting a little dabble of it with us now. Roar the Lions UK. Let's go, you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Broadcasting from Grandma Studio One. We are the #1 show at Grandma Studio One. The #1 show. Can you believe that shit? We are the number one and the number last show. Because if you ain't first, you're last. But somehow we're both first and last. Let's go, Grandma Studio One. Guys, I do want to point out one last thing before you share this video around with all your friends. Friends, family, coworkers. I don't really care if it fucks up your YouTube algorithm or your social media cultivated presence right now. Admit to everybody. Be open about it. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here. You can admit to everybody that you're a fan of the Hat and Beard Show. Real quickly, guys, there is a link down in the description below. What we were talking about, Roar of the Lions UK. One pride worldwide. Our guys over in the United Kingdom, they will be doing a 24-hour Detroit Lions charity stream featuring amazing guests like the aforementioned Jeremy Reisman, who we will be reading today, Nick Baumgardner from The Atlantic, Dave Briquette, longtime writer for the Detroit Free Press, Jeff Risden from Lions Wire, Chris Perfett, Mike Kimber Lions talk by Chat Sports. That is a huge bag right there. That's awesome. Good on you guys for getting Mike Kimber to come over, help out with this. So what they're doing is they're doing a charity stream. They're going to be talking Lions, 24 hours, and they're going to split all proceeds, 50-50. They're going to go half of it to their own UK-based charity, Maggie's Home for Cancer Care, or of Cancer Care. It is similar to like various medical institutions over here. You go, you need a place to stay while a loved one is undergoing extensive amounts of therapy, chemotherapy, that type of stuff. It's a place for people to go and crash stay. You know, it's a service provided, a charity-based service, and so half of the proceeds are going to be going to that, and that's awesome. Good on you guys, because if you guys do pay attention, the healthcare over in the United Kingdom kind of is a little lacking compared to Western medicine over here. Let's go America. And then the other half of it is going to be going to Habitat for Humanity of Michigan. And that is awesome. Thank you to you guys thinking about little old us over here in the mitten. We're a peninsula. You guys are an island. I think we're still bigger than you guys, which is absolutely awesome. So shout out to all of you over there at the wrong side of the pond. But there is a link in my description that you can go ahead and click. It takes you directly to the charity. Go ahead and donate, which you can if you can. I'm not going to twist your arm over this, but if you can, throw a couple bucks down. Let them know the Hat and Beard Show tuned you on to it. Let's see if we can't build bridges. One pride worldwide, guys. If you're ready, if your hands and feet are inside the vehicle, please keep them inside the vehicle until we come to a stop shortly at or around 11 a.m. Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Mad Hatters. How you doing, brother? We're pushing for 700. Just talking about you, dude. Going to need your input on dual streaming when we go to Rumble here. 12 subscribers. We need 12 more. Let's go, guys. Let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, fellas, coming to us from mainstream media outlets, CBS Sports. Agents Takeaway, how Cowboys Micah Parsons innocently fueled contract dispute with Jerry, my eyes aren't too far apart, Jones. The Cowboys owner is an all-pro when it comes to negotiating tactics. God damn, he's looking old. Jesus Christ. And he's got to wear these big, oversized aviators because his eyes are about right there. See where my mouse is? That's where about his eyes should be a little bit over there, but my eyes aren't too far apart. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones claims that Pro Bowl edge rusher Micah Parsons renegade on a handshake agreement they made in March about contract extensions. He repeated insistence that the thought he had a deal contradicts his statement at the NFL annual meetings held March 30th to April 2nd. Sounds like the old man's getting confused. I know that I've spent 5 or 6 hours with him myself and had a lot of discussions. Most of the issues are in agreement, and I've discussed it all, Jones said. We obviously don't have an agreement relative to a new contract. Micah is under contract. So we'll see how that goes. It's not uncommon for me to visit directly with players, and in this particular case, that's what I'm doing. Jones made additional comments dismissing the role of Parsons' agent, Athletes First, David Mulugeta, David Mulligan, in the negotiating process where he said he didn't know who represented Parsons. This prompted Parsons to declare on social media that a deal wouldn't be done without involvement. Is one of the most prominent NFL agents. He was able to get quarterback Deshaun Cosby touching people where he shouldn't and doing naughty things he shouldn't. A groundbreaking, fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract in connection with his 2022 trade from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. Despite having 4 years worth, $136 million remaining on the contract extension he signed with the Texans in 2020. More recently, made cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. the NFL's first $30 million per year defensive back. Stingley received a 3-year, $90 million extension with a defensive back record, and $89 million in guaranteed from the Texans in March. Jones has a long history of trying to circumvent agents when negotiating contracts. I have witnessed it firsthand. When I was just getting started in the athlete representation, the firm I worked for represented Jimmy Smith. Our expectations with Smith would be taken in the latter part of the first round in the 1992 NFL draft. I was 4 years old. He was considered the third best wide receiver prospect available. We knew going ahead of Carl Pickens was unlikely. Pickens was the second wide receiver drafted. The Cincinnati Fumbles selected Pickens early in the second round with the 31st overall pick. There were only 28 teams in 1992. Think of the expansion that we put on in that amount of times. Jones called Smith while the Cowboys were on the clock to tell him he was going to be taken 36th overall, but only if he agreed to a contract before the pick was made. Smith, who was already feeling some anxiety because NFL teams were waiting to draft wide receivers, agreed to Jones below market terms. Well, look, that's his problem, dude. That's his. At the time, in the early 90s, Cowboys had a lot of leverage. You want to put the star, you want to rep the star and come play in Big D? Well, Jerry Jones, he can strong arm you. He can say, you agree to a contract before I even draft you. Now, that is on Jimmy Smith, not necessarily Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, I'm not a Jerry Jones guy. His eyes are too far apart. My eyes aren't too far apart. He's a businessman, right? Businessman going to make deals. It's not, I'm not saying he's a clean businessman, but, that's on Jimmy Smith. A rookie wage scale was strict financial parameters for each pick. The draft didn't exist in 1992. The Cowboys drew criticism from agents and other teams for using this tactic with several of their 1992 draftees because it violated conventional draft protocol. But if it wasn't, but is it illegal though? 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 Was he actually breaking any rules? I'm not trying to give Jerry Jones any leeway here, but if it wasn't a rule, what's he breaking if it wasn't a rule? Just because it's the status quo, if it's not set in stone, right there. You know what I'm saying? My bosses were livid after Smith told us what happened. If Smith had been allowed to consult with us before making a decision, he would have been instructed to call Jones's bluff. My bosses called Jones to let him know the verbal agreement wasn't binding and any negotiations would be with them. A deal appropriate for Smith's draft position was subsequently negotiated. Because of the Cowboys' tactic, all future draft-eligible clients were were given instructions on how to handle the situation Smith faced. Sorry about the coughing and clearing and stuff. It's allergies, man. Allergies have gone banana. Any of you allergy sufferers out there just fucking dying up here the last day and a half? Parsons, who was at training camp holed in with, quote, back issues, bears some responsibility for his current predicament. In Parsons' statement publicly announcing his recent trade request, he acknowledged that had he engaged in back-and-forth conversations with Jones and no longer wanted to be bound to closed-door negotiations without his agent being present. Oh, no. Was Jerry Jones going the Christian Wilkins, right? Is Jerry Jones kissing dudes on the forehead? Is he setting up smooching booths? You want to get paid. You want to get paid, you got to kiss the ring. You know what I'm saying? Parsons would have better served taking a page from former Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant's playbook in contract discussions with Jones. In January 2024, appearance on the Pivot podcast, Bryant recalled ending Jones' attempt to negotiate directly by asking Jones if he could cover him on the football field. Jones admitted it would be a disaster. Bryant then compared Jones trying to stop him in a football game to negotiating his own deal against Jones. Yeah, that's a very good comparison. Look, man, you think you can stop me on the field? No. Okay. I am an elite level wide receiver. I'm an elite level talent. Dez Bryant, this being Dez Bryant. You are an elite level businessman. I am not. That is a. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty clever, Dez Bryant. That is a clever little move you did there, fella. Jones engages with players because he knows he has a huge advantage from a business standpoint in this type of dialogue. At the most, Parsons should have had a brief conversation with Jones about his contract where he conveyed he had the best defensive player in the NFL and should be paid accordingly. But will handle substantive discussions. Jesus Christ. From the outside looking in, Parsons seems like he might be a challenging client in some respects. Parsons raised eyebrows last December by opening the door to taking a hometown discount. Quote, I feel like you see a lot of times highest paid, and then we say don't have weapons, or they don't have this, Parsons said. So would I rather just be in the best situation, you know? At that point, I don't think there's a big difference between 30 million and 40 million in my eyes. And that's just me talking. You know, that's when you're getting into the tens of millions of dollars, it really comes down to the guaranteed money, right? It comes down to that guaranteed money. What are you guaranteed to get? That's why we've seen all these second round rookies this year trying to hold out for fully guaranteed contracts. The math is not really there for them to be able to justifiably say, I'm going to get a second, a third contract extension. It's just the reality is, 33% of the players wash out or something like that in their first year. 1 or 2% really make it to like a fourth year contract. You know what I'm saying? Parsons also recognized that Mahalola wouldn't like his comments. My agent might be mad at me. Might be mad I even said that. But, you know, for me, I mean, I've already been blessed enough. I can't complain too much in life. Outside of quickly dismissing Parsons' trade requests as just being a part of negotiations, Jones has refrained from potentially further antagonizing his best player. Jones hasn't spoken to Parsons since his trade request. There still hasn't been any communication between Mahalola and the Cowboys since late February at the NFL Scouting Combine. Surprisingly, Jones deflected questions about Parsons prior to the Cowboys' preseason opener against the Los Angeles Rams. Some sort of drama, most likely, with Parsons considering he is in the contract year and his stature on the Cowboys should have been expected based on Jones's comments at Monday night's premiere of the Netflix documentary America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. I do believe if we're not being looked at, I'll do my part to get us looked at, Jones said. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days a year. It's because they are a brand. And Jerry Jones knows that the Dallas Cowboys are a brand. When it gets slow, I'll stir it up. Oh, it's wonderful to have great players. But there is something more there. There is sizzle. There is emotion. There is controversy. That controversy is good stuff. It's good for ratings. Any type of publicity is good publicity. This approach has served. Oh, hello. Sorry, I just keep kind of glancing over at the chat. Morning, Austin Ruring. Hope I'm saying that right, brother. Last thing I'd want is Micah Parsons on this team. I want to keep our guys that are chill and love ball. Also, we are NFC. They would be stupid to send him our way. Yeah, I agree with you, Austin, on both takes, actually. I don't want Micah Parsons on the Detroit Lions. It's just a fun thought exercise to kind of go over once or twice. You said it right. It's a rink. Is it so like hard rink? Really emphasize the rink. I'm not trying to make fun of you, dude. I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. You should have seen me trying to say Kerry Simtich for the longest time. Shout out, Austin. Welcome to the chat, dude. Yeah, I don't think I'd want Micah Parsons on this team either. All right, so basically this is just going to be talking to a bunch of more bullshit about Jerry Jones and how he strong-arms people. But what do you guys think? What do you think about Micah Parsons? Do you think Micah Parsons ends up signing with the Dallas Cowboys? Can't afford to trade for Parsons? Yeah. Or Detroit can't afford to trade for Parsons. Raw Blizz? Raw Blizz? Yeah, I agree, dude. There's not the money, and we have far too many players that have already produced well in-house that we've drafted that we need to re-sign. So the idea of going after a superstar player to then eat up a bunch of contract or a cap space when we've got Hutch and Campbell and Laporta and Branch and Gibbs and JMO and all these other guys that we need to re-sign who are more important than adding a elite level. We already have an elite level defensive end. We need to draft an elite level defensive end. Hopefully we get that out of our guy, the Egyptian magician. Unfortunately, I think Nate Lynn is really starting to run away with that fourth defensive end spot. I really liked what we've seen out of Al-Qadim Muhammad last Friday. He's putting a lot of pressure on, which is why I wasn't too concerned. If you looked at the actual metrics, Al-Qadim Muhammad was just as productive as Big Z was last year. Hey, I like the way you spelled that. Lion Insider Parsons said he would play for less, but that would be a huge haul of picks for a rental. Yeah, Lion Insider, shout out, good take. And the Detroit Lions, we know that Brad Holmes, he loves his draft capital. Outside of he loves to trade away third-round picks, and I don't think you have enough third-round picks from now until eternity to go after a guy like Micah Parsons. And don't like the idea of not having that first-round pick. Statistically speaking, Brad Holmes nails it in the first round. You know what I'm saying? If I had to choose between paying JMO 30 or Parsons 30 on a discount, I'd take Parsons any day. Yes, Mr. Detroit City, I agree with you there. And that's kind of the problem, though, is, you're looking at these guys who are going to need $30 million a year. Do you want to pay a high end? Oh, Lion Insider, JMO is a must re-sign. Uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. We got some JMO love in the chat. Oh, and TBH, Dallas dropped the ball with Parsons. Here we have a generational gifted athlete who has no coverage skills, man zone. Can't play the run and is great bona fide third down pass rusher. JMO not getting 30, I think Rob Bliss. Oh, Rabiz. Am I saying it right? Rob is. Cool. Austin Rurink, I'd take JMO TBIH. He opens the field up, and for Saint and Laporta, also makes it easier for the run game. He's actually massive for our offense. Hey, Austin, shout out, dude. That's something that I do. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest JMO fan. There's actually kind of a little, you say we're a JMO hate channel because I don't glaze him. But I will say this, Jameson Williams is massive in our run game. I say it all the time. He's always the guy opening up the downfield blocks to get that last little oomph for Gibbs to just haul ass downfield. St. Brown got around 25. Trade him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see where you guys are at. Getting his time. The only 30 I can see is JMO ever getting. Oh, okay, that's fair, Mr. Detroit City. Rabiz. Hell yeah. All right, so fair. I think we're all kind of. I'm a massive fan. I love his personality of JMO. Austin, you like JMO. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. I get where you guys are at. So I guess what I should say is, I am not as high as everybody else is on Jameson Williams. I do like the way he's trending. I like the idea that he's finally matured, at least by what he's saying on camera. His personality seems to have grown up a little bit. I, though, am very high in what I've seen out of camp. The cuts, the routes, the hands. Jameson Williams seems to be on another level right now, athletically, than where he even was. I do think that we are looking at the Jameson Williams breakout season. I've said it before. I got a ceiling for Jameson Williams to go to 1,600 yards this year. I've also said that if-then statement. If Jameson Williams gets 1,600 yards, then Jared Goff throws for 5,000 yards. Very easy math. Follow it with me on here. Jameson Williams goes for 1,600. Amon-Ra gets 1,400. There you go. You got 3,000 yards right there. You only need 2,000 more. Very easily math. 7 to 1,000 to Sam Laporta. 3 to 6 to Fireball Tim Patrick or Isaac Tesla. I don't know. I was drawing a blank on that. There you're pushing 4,000 yards between those two guys. And then you can easily divvy up another 1,000 yards to the running backs, to your deeper roster player, tight ends, and wide receivers. I think if Jameson Williams gets 1,600 yards, which I think is very attainable for him in John Morton's aggressive vertical passing attack behind one of the best offensive lines with two of the best running backs in the game, and Jared Goff being the best, not the best, but one of the best play-action passing quarterbacks who is ascending to an elite level. I think Jared Goff does make a push for MVP. If-then statement. If Jameson Williams gets 1,600 yards, then Jared Goff throws for 5,000 yards. Did any of that make sense? I do think Rob I agree. We do need to re-sign Hutch now. I don't know about JMO. I think JMO will take a team-friendly deal. Do you, Lion? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'm liking JMO because he is maturing, needs to prove he is done with shenanigans. Morning, Jeanette. Stop texting and driving. You're supposed to be driving. I know Jeanette outside of here. You're supposed to be driving, so stop texting and driving. All right, we got some good chats going on here, guys. You guys got some good takes. This town and team have modified him into the player and person he has become. Loyalty is huge for JMO. Okay, Lion. Okay. I like where you're coming from, dude. See, and that ties into stuff that we've said for a long time about Brad Holmes and the psych profile that he's looking for players. Maybe he knew that JMO needed a little bit of development. Maybe he knew that JMO needed a little bit of polish, and that he knew, if I treat this player this way, he will reward me with loyalty. You know what I'm saying? I also do kind of think that Antoine Randall L might have been kind of feeding into Jameson Williams' immaturity and hype. And now with Scotty Montgomery becoming the wide receivers coach, a little bit more of suit and tie approach, a little bit more grown up, a little bit more of a stern hand. Hey, look, JMO, it ain't all fun and games. Now's the time to play. Look, you want to get paid? Now you need to go play. Go prove it. Go prove it. I'm going to hold you to a higher standard. It isn't JMO Waymo. You are Jameson Williams. You are here to play ball. You are a veteran now. You know what I'm saying? Jalen hits 1,600 yards and hits my prediction as well. 17-plus touchdowns. He'll require $28 million. Yeah, Raw, you're not wrong, Raw Biz. You're not wrong. He will totally command that type of money. I'm not saying that that's a irrational number to expect him. I just don't know if the Lions are going to be the team to ante up that type of money. Do you think that there's a world where Jameson Williams should be paid more than Amon-Ra St. Brown? Even if statistically this year Jameson Williams has more yards and more touchdowns, does he then become the number one on the team, or is Amon-Ra still always going to be locked into that number one wide receiver spot? You know what I'm saying? He's not going to command more than Amon-Ra. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lion. That's what I'm saying, dude. If it comes down to us running out of money with everyone we need to re-sign, JMO will be the first one on the chopping block. And that's Art. I agree with you, dude. I think that event, what's going to happen is the same thing that I said last year around the trade deadline. I said the same thing. I was really high on it in the draft. Okay, this isn't a JMO hate thing. This is an acknowledgement of Jameson Williams' talent and what we can do with him. Jameson Williams, as it stands, with him being in Detroit, with the roster that we have around us, Jameson Williams is an elite level wide receiver, but he's not the number one wide receiver on the team. He's not even the number two pass catching option. I still think Sam Laporta is the number two pass catching option on the team. What Jameson Williams is the best luxury in all of football. He's an elite level wide receiver with game breaking speed. He can take over a game and be absolutely dominant. He is not a necessity though for this team to be successful. So that gives us the ability to trade him away for a lot of draft capital because he can go and be, I'm using air quotes, he could go and be a number one wide receiver on any other roster. 98% of the teams, he could be a number one wide receiver right now. Just with him, he'll never be the number one while Amon-Ra is here. So Jameson Williams becomes the best luxury in all of football. Only because Brad traded so much for him, I think the Lions really like what he brings. Okay, that's fair, Austin. That's fair. We did trade a lot, and we moved up, 20 picks to go get him? I like where your head's at. Yeah, okay. That's a good take, Austin. That's a good take, brother. Okay, that's fair. I didn't think of it from that angle. Brad Holmes has a lot of loyalty to his guys, and he did give up a lot of draft capital to go and get this injured wide receiver, right? Now, there was a run on wide receivers. Was he our number one guy on the board? You know what I'm saying? You do not want to trade this man to anyone. We feed this man a chip when playing. Yeah, okay, Raw. I see what you're saying. Kind of that traditional. We don't want to see a Lions player go somewhere else and become even better than, and then make us pay for it. I get where you're coming from, dude. I think it comes down to dollars, man. JMO has a fifth-year option. Next year, he could be franchise tagged if needed. And that, Lion, you are correct. Absolutely correct. We do have a little bit. Not only do we have the fifth-year option and the availability to franchise tag him, we still, though, have the leverage over him because, again, like I said, he's not the number one wide receiver. He's not even the number two pass-catching option on the team, in my opinion, right? I think so. I think he would be a top 5 pick if he didn't blow out his knee. Okay, that's fair, Austin. That's fair, and that is a totally sound argument because let's be real. If JMO didn't blow out his knee, he wouldn't have been there for us to make that move up to. There would have been no way we could have gone after Jameson Williams had he not tore his knee at the back end of it, or I think in the national title game is when he did it. That did bode well for us. Unfortunately, there were some growing pains that came along with that, and we've had to kind of sit and wait for Jameson Williams. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to have any productivity his rookie year, and then his second year he had to sit with the suspension. It wasn't until last year that he emerged, finally breaking that 1,000-yard level. I know I say it tongue in cheek because he went for 1,001 yards, but he did technically eclipse 1,000 yards. It's a tough call, man. It's a tough call, and it's a conversation that we're going to be having a lot on this channel between now and whenever and whatever happens with Jameson Williams. It's going to be a thought exercise that we have pretty regular. My question is, does he go off this year, and how do you let him walk? Good point, dude. That's the thing. The real problem is Brad just drafts too damn good. Lion, yes, we do. It's a good problem to have. Brad Holmes is the smartest man in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? He just drafts these guys, players. J-Mo, Gibbs, Laporta, Hutch, Branch, J.C., Rodriguez, all need contracts. We must keep you can only keep 5. Okay, Raw. So this is or Raw. I'm sorry, I keep saying Raw. This is my order, okay? Top 5, and I've gone over this before. Hutch is the most important re-sign that's coming up. Then you go Gibbs, Laporta, Action Jack Campbell, and Brian Branch. With the 6th then, and I think he's going to be no problem, an easy re-sign, and that's going to be Malcolm Rodriguez. But if I'm going after those 5 out of those 7 guys, I agree with you, dude. But I go Hutch in order. Hutch, Gibbs, Laporta, Action Jack Campbell, Brian Branch. Imagine if he had drafted Puka, like you said, we probably don't even draft JMO at this point. I agree with you. Hey, what's up, broski? Morning, dude. How do you think the timing Hutch and JMO contracts will fall? Both have their 5th-year options in 26. I think Hutch is going to get done as soon as possible. I think that if Aiden Hutchinson is playing at the level he was playing if Aiden Hutchinson is playing at the level he was playing at prior to the injury last year up to the point of the bye week this year, I think at the bye week, Aiden Hutchinson gets his contract, resets the defensive end market, and I'm talking 5-6 year deal. You know what I'm saying? Is it wait and see for half a season extend? But yes, broski. Yes, in my opinion, it's a wait and see. I think Aiden Hutchinson is pretty much guaranteed. I have no concerns about Hutch and his return from the injury. But yeah, I would go with the wait and see approach. Definitely. Rodriguez is so cheap. Austin, yes. Malcolm Rodriguez should not only be a cheap re-sign, but give us a very team-friendly deal, and he will be getting paid way under. We will be grossly underpaying Malcolm Rodriguez because he's a very productive linebacker who, barring the injury last year, would have had a breakout season, I think. I think Branch is honestly second. His versatility, and honestly, I think he's our second best defender. No shit, Austin. Okay, that's fair, dude. Brian Branch, yeah. I don't disagree with you entirely. I just think that our second best defensive player is Kirby Joseph. Just when you look at the numbers of Kirby Joseph, he is on par at this point in his career with Ed Reed, the Hall of Famer. I think Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph, Jack Campbell. Then it probably gets a tie-up between Jack Campbell, Action Jack Campbell, and Brian Branch. Now, a healthy Aleem McNeil does change that conversation quite a bit. And if I'm being honest, I know I'm way too hype. I'm way too hype after last Friday, but goddamn, Tyreek Williams is going to be a fucking problem for the NFL. Tyreek Williams, Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, and hopefully the evolution of the Egyptian magician Ahmed Hassanin makes a formidable front for the defense because, look, I know Marcus Davenport can be that guy, but what have you done for me lately, Marcus Davenport? Oh, wow, I can't, man. Underrated so much. Oh, Jamos can't. I wish you well, but I'm out. That was very disheartening. Oh, well, that's fair, Raw. That's fair, dude. I get it. You're good, man. No worries, dude. It's just my takes on JMO. You know what I'm saying? JMO will probably have to sacrifice money to stay on the team. Yeah, Sam. Dude, yeah, I agree. I got all that. Jack Campbell will be cheaper because he's a linebacker. Austin, yeah, he will be a little cheaper because he's a linebacker, though. Just so you know, dude, I am like crazy high on Jack Campbell. I am so high on Jack Campbell. I honestly think Jack Campbell is going to be the next Brian Urlacher level player at linebacker in the NFL. I think Action Jack Campbell is going to be him. I really do. I'm very high on Action Jack Campbell. I think Branch is kind of unfair. He played nickel and safety and then got tossed wherever last year because of it. That's fair. That's fair. And that is one of the beautiful things about Brian Branch is his incredible versatility. I think they all realize they have to take less to stay on the team. Lynn, you're right, dude. They are going to have to take less, and eventually we're going to turn into the Patriots where we start restructuring deals, contract, that type of deal, so the guys can come in. I am as well. You loved him at Iowa. Hell yeah, dude. I thought Jack Campbell was awesome at Iowa. His rookie year was a little a little under what I expected as far as pass coverage, but then the step between his first year and his second year in the pass coverage was just massive. I mean, all 6'4". Hang on one second. My hands get mad wicked sweaty, so I use tissues to keep my hands dry, and I was just getting tissue powder all over everything. Jack is a Lion forever. He's Spielman's guy, and that, yeah, Sam. Dude, yes, Chris Spielman and Jack Campbell, very similar in their demeanor, their play style. Jack is a Lion. Same. Yeah, hell yeah, Austin. Hell yeah. JMO looks good with a star on his jersey. Just saying. Mr. Detroit City. Didn't I say that's who? I originally had us pegged to trade JMO to the Dallas Cowboys draft night so that we could go after Matthew Golden. That's kind of what I thought the deal was going to be. But, all right, guys, Jesus Christ, we've gotten through one story, and it is 20 minutes to 11. Wow. All right, there's a secret war happening. If you guys haven't already, do all the things, click the buttons, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, share this video around with all your friends. There's a poll up in the chat. 15 votes. Wow. Does Micah Parsons rep the star in 25? 53% of you say yes. You can't let him go. 20% of you say bring him to America's real team, that being the Dirty D. Jerry's eyes are too far apart with 13%. My eyes aren't too far apart. And no, Jerry is a tool with 13% of the vote. Appreciate all you guys engaging with everything. It's hard. Like letting Laporta go is tough to think, but he already replaced our tight end prior with Laporta. Yeah, but Sam Laporta is a next level tight end. I think he's a very special player at tight end. All of them are so good. I don't know. I agree with you, Austin. I agree with you. All right, so what's the secret war? There's a secret war. Did I mention Jalen Sailors before? I think Hatton Beard has been high on Jalen Sailors for a while. Training camp is heading towards its climax for the Detroit Lions. There's just a bit over a couple weeks left and 2 preseason games as well. Most of the position battles that we are all paying attention to have kind of reached their climax. It feels to say that Kyle Allen won the QB2 job and Khalif Raymond staved off Dominic Lovett. We're still waiting to see what happens at safety 4, and there's a fun triple threat between Nate Lynn, Keith Cooper Jr., our guy, and Isaac Akuwu. We're big fans of Keith Cooper Jr. Not so much Nate Lynn. I like what he does, but he's taking reps away from our guy, the Egyptian magician, Ahmed Hassanin. But there's one battle that nobody's talking about. With some backstory, you might find yourself paying close attention to these final 2 preseason games. We're talking about Jacob Sailors and Deion Jackson. Sailors ran for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Jackson ran for 400 yards at the UFL. It was Sailors who got all UFL spot. Now we fast forward a few months, and both running backs are battling for a spot on the Lions' 53-man roster. They're unlikely to get it. I don't know about that, but there is definitely something worth fighting over despite that. The Lions have always carried a running back on the practice squad. Usually that was Jamar Jefferson. But now Jefferson is with the Titans. Sailor and Jackson can fight for that spot, and one of them is likely to get it. That spot is important because, as we know, the Lions play their practice squad guys a lot. Let's see what happens on Saturday. With Jabari Small now gone, we should see a nice amount of these guys after Sione Vaki or Craig Reynolds get their run. So let me ask you guys, running back 3/running back 4. Do we carry 4 tailbacks? Because I'm penciling Zach Horton to be a tight end 4/fullback. Okay. GG, back to work. Keep it going. See you soon. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you hanging out. Thank you for all your hot takes. I really like it. See you Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at youtube.com. Make sure you ring the bell and subscribe to the channel. Have a good rest of your day at work, dude. Grind it out. Going to be tough for Sailors to make the 53, and he'll get snatched off after practice. The Brent, that's what I'm saying. I do think Jalen Sailors is the better of the running backs. So what do you guys think? Obviously, Monty Gibbs, right? Do we then pencil Craig in at the 3 spot? Is Craig the number 3 running back on this team just by default? Does Craig get pushed by Sione Vaki? Does Craig get pushed by Jalen Sailors? I'm not too worried about Deion Jackson. He's coming in too late in the mix, and Jalen Sailors is coming off of a very productive game against Hotlanta. Personally, this is not a slight against Craig Reynolds. This is not a slight against Sione Vaki. Sione Vaki and Craig Reynolds both bring different aspects to special teams that can be beneficial to us. But from a pure running back perspective on what they can do for the team, Jalen Sailors is a better running back than Craig Reynolds or Sione Vaki. Jalen Sailors, in my opinion, should be the 3rd running back on this roster. What do you guys think? Jackson not making it. 100%. 100%. 100%. Yeah, Brent, I agree. Jackson not making it. Too late into camp. Too late into the mix to really compete. And I really agree with you that if Sailors goes practice squad, there's no way he's staying with the Lions. He's going to get snatched up 100%. Craig gets pushed by Sailors. Sam Armstrong. I think Craig. I just don't see the pop. I don't see the explosiveness. I see, unfortunately, with Craig Reynolds, the fireball Tim Patrick, the Josh Reynolds, the loyalty of Brad Holmes keeping you in here, the loyalty of Dan Campbell, trying to give these guys as much opportunities, but ultimately it's going to come to a detriment when you have a better player behind you who can do more things and they can benefit the team as far as the productivity on the field. Locker room, I don't know. Craig has been here for a long time. He represents a lot of what the Lions try and do in the mentality of Motor City Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. I'm telling you, dude, Jalen Sailors, I'm not saying he's a special guy. He's not our special little boy. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs. But he's better than Craig Reynolds. Love Netflix, but Father Time is catching up to him. Yeah, Brent, that's the thing, man. I love Craig Reynolds. The story's awesome. But you can't outrun the clock, brother. You can't. It's especially at that position. When running backs hit that wall, they hit that wall, dude. I would like to see a world where we can carry Craig and Jalen on the active roster. And that's no slight against Sione Vaki. It's just you missed some time in camp. Your opportunities have been very limited, right, to begin with. And the opportunity you had to get more opportunities on film, unfortunately, you were hurt. Jalen Sailors, just like Kyle Allen, came into Friday's game and really turned it on, took the most of the opportunities available to him. You know what I'm saying? I like what I've seen out of Sailors. All right, guys, over at NFL.com, Dolphins encounter frustrating day. The Lions joint practices. The Miami Dolphins arrived to skepticism in Detroit this week ahead of joint practices with the Lions. After one session, appears the doubt was justified. Quarterback Tua breaks his brain. Tagovailoa and the Dolphins' offense endured a struggle-filled first practice on Wednesday, realizing what linebacker Grant Stewart had predicted a day earlier. Miami wasn't ready for what Detroit was bringing to the field. That's right. Grant Stewart called him out. Tagovailoa was frustrated by his teammates' performance, but declined to levy too much criticism, including of himself, after one practice. For a grade, I wouldn't give myself a grade. I don't think that's fair to grade yourself, Tagovailoa said. My assessment, I still wouldn't give myself a grade. I think that's for you guys to do with however you guys report that and whatnot. I think today offensively was a very frustrating day in regards to what we wanted to do, what we said we wanted to do, come out, and we just weren't able to get things jump-started. So that was very frustrating today. Do you think they're going to have to implement the Hutch rule against other teams? Unlikely his ugly 3-interception outing in joint practices with the Bears last week, Tagovailoa didn't make the same crushing mistakes against the Lions. He did, however, fail to propel his unit and lament a collective lack of energy afterward. Perhaps even more concerning was the absence of notable progress, a goal of Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel that has yet to be fulfilled. I would like to see growth in our team based on having one joint and one game on how we improve football within practice, McDaniel said Wednesday. There could be a lot of focus on going against another team, and there could be a lot of focus on whatever happened. I want to focus on game-ready reps and where you're going to play, regardless of its success or failure. You have another play. How are you going to use that play previous and do better on the next? You got to stack good plays. You got to stack plays on top of each other, but they have no good plays. Judging by Tagovailoa's assessment, the Dolphins aren't overcoming adversity on a play-by-play basis. Stewart's comments were nothing new from the Detroit camp, an organization that prides itself on toughness while carrying a Motor City-sized chip on its shoulders. After enjoying a rapid turnaround that has included deep playoff runs and ascension into the club of elite NFL teams, the Lions have plenty of reason to walk around with their chests out and their heads held high. Yeah, we did win. We went 15-2, won the NFC North for the second consecutive year, and got the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs while having 6,000 players on injured reserve last year. It's a key reason why McDaniel scheduled joint practices with the reigning NFC North champions. I think it's very interesting to bring our organization to Detroit and practice against the team based on the football they like to play, which is the exact opposite of football that the Miami Dolphins play. Nothing includes the comments made by Stewart, which McDaniel heard and promptly filed into the noise category. But after one underwhelming showing, it might behoove McDaniel to make a little noise of his own within the Dolphins' locker room in order to light a fire under his troops, especially as he prepares his team for what could be a pivotal campaign. Such reflection might inspire the Dolphins to take the field Thursday with an increased sense of urgency. Perhaps then, Tagovailoa and the offense might find the urgency they've lacked in joint practices thus far. Might have to just give Craig a job on the staff like Sean Dion. Yes, contrapartisan. Did I say that right? Contrapartisan. Right on. I agree with you, dude. Doesn't Craig kind of fit that build of the transitionary player from player into coach, and it just hand in glove? You know, Craig knows what we're trying to do. He knows the system. He knows the players. It just makes sense that he can come in and start to mentor players and be a coach and start developing younger players as Father Time catches up to him. Now, everything we read here about the Dolphins, doesn't this really just touch on what golly, what's his name? Asante Samuel Sr. said that they're soft, that the players are running, that the powers that be have no control over it. It's starting to look that way, and unfortunately, I'm going to say that seat is heating up under Mike McDaniel day by day. It's a great idea. That is a great idea, Brent. I agree with you. Contrap Astan. I'm sorry, dude. That is a great idea. It's a good idea. Just so you guys are aware, we're going to be running a little late today. I got a little too wrapped up in the chat. But hey, don't worry. I don't work today. So lucky us, I guess. We're going to go over to Pride of Detroit. We got 2 more stories here left for you. What Dolphins writers are saying about the Lions' dominant joint practice. A breakdown of what the Dolphins reporters are saying about the Lions after day 1 of joint practices. This came out this morning from Jeremy Reisman. Shout out Jeremy Reisman. If you guys like the work that he does, don't forget that over in the down in the description, I have a link to Roar on Lions UK, and Jeremy Reisman will be a guest on their 24-hour live stream. They're doing a charity fundraiser where they're splitting the proceeds 50-50 to Maggie's Home for Cancer over in the UK and Michigan Habitat for Humanity. Shout out you guys, even though you're on the wrong side of the Freedom Pond. I appreciate you guys thinking about us over here in the Motor City. So we're going to talk. By now, you've likely read from multiple sources that the Detroit Lions had an absolutely dominant day of practice on day 1 of joint practices with the Miami Dolphins. Chances are, though, you've mostly read these opinions from Lions writers you know and love. But what did the Miami Dolphins reporters on hand think of practice? Remember, Miami just completed joint practices with the Chicago Bears last week. They have a frame of reference and perhaps a different outlook on how things went down on Wednesday. This is Isaac Smalls. The boy Amon-Ra St. Brown was like that. He had straight up dominated Dolphins corners. Even worse, he's doing it really respectfully and with a smile. If you haven't already seen the full minute of Amon-Ra St. Brown highlights, go watch that now and then see the Dolphins writers fully understand why St. Brown is a 2-time All-Pro. From Smalls, defensive back Jack Jones, from the very beginning, Jones was chirping. The only issue was that he didn't back it up. St. Brown consistently torched the 4th-year corner, who seemingly sought out the matchup against a 3-time Pro Bowler. It didn't matter that period. 1-on-1, 7-on-7, 11-on-11s. If St. Brown saw Jones across from him, he was cooked. Even worse, St. Brown did it in a multitude of ways. He caught deep balls, he caught a 5-yard touchdown, and he did damage with his fair share of grabs in the intermediate as well. Overall, St. Brown was simply a matchup nightmare for the Dolphins secondary. He was able to get in space and was open whenever he needed to make a play. Though Miami's D matched his physicality of the Lions, but Goff and St. Brown were basically perfect. They didn't get much on the ground, but Goff was throwing handoffs, and St. Brown catches everything. Dolphins' offense was frustrated. Tagovailoa specifically pointed out the Lions' pass rush as something that just threw off the timing of everything for Miami's offense. That's why they're going to have to implement the Hutch rule in these joint practices. Our timing in the passing game was well off of what our pass protection looked like. That's just not a good recipe for success in this league. And against good teams, things like that are going to happen. Miami Dolphins reporter said Tua was sacked on the first play of 11-on-11 portion of practice. Several followed. The 7-on-7 portion of practice did not go well early for backup quarterback Zach Wilson. Wilson threw interceptions on his first 3 passes as the Dolphins receivers struggled with getting open against the Lions defense. The receivers also had several drops. Before we get into specific plays, let's just say it was really rough outing for the offense. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa didn't throw a pick after his rough 3-interception joint practice against the Chicago Bears on Friday, but he also didn't have a touchdown. Chin up. The Dolphins did some good things. Apparently, the Lions' offensive line, particularly the second team, struggled against the Dolphins' defenders. Defensive end Derek McLendon, linebacker Jordan Brooks, and defensive tackle Zach Seiler, who just signed a big contract extension, were particularly disruptive. Not only did McLendon consistently win his reps during one-on-ones, he got some extended run with the starters during the situational period at the end of practice when Robinson went down. Overall, the offense didn't play great. HN, however, showed a bit of life during 7-on-7s. The third-year tailback caught a ball from Tagovailoa for a nice chunk of yards. Then during team drills, he had a nice misdirection run that would have picked up significant yards. And then you can watch a 10-minute video. Do you guys want to watch the 1 minute of Amon-Ra dominance? Tua throwing up gains. Yeah, dude, Tua throwing up the fencing gains, gang signs. Oh, let's watch this highlights. St. Brown's a shit. The team is loaded. Yeah, dude, this team is loaded. And St. Brown is fucking insane. Come on. Is this the 2-minute long vidya? Jesus Christ. Oh! God damn, yo! Making them look stupid. Hey, look at that. Tim Patrick down there to cheer him on. Dominic Lovett. Look at the team, just everyone. Oh my God. Oh my God. He just cooked him, dude. He just runs right. Oh! 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 God damn. So underrated. Amon-Ra is so underrated, guys. He's just so grossly underrated. Yeah, dude, Brent, the only passes that Wilson can complete are to MILFs. That's true. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and run a little bit late. We got one last article here to read from our guy, Tim 20-Man, Lions-Dolphins joint practices, day 1 observations. Let's finish our day with a little self-glazing. If you haven't already, ring my bells, poke my buttons. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here at youtube.com, broadcasting exclusively from Grandma's Studio 1. Hit the like button and share this video around with all your friends. It's the best way to help the channel grow. We are 12 subscribers away from 700. And as soon as we hit that 700 achievement unlocked, we're going to start dual streaming, probably to Rumble. But let's talk DetroitLions.com. Tim 20-man, Lions senior writer. It's a good day. The Lions had a dominant day on both sides of the football in joint practices with the Miami Dolphins at the Miger. It's French, Miger Performance Center Wednesday. Quarterback Jared Goff and the offense moved the ball both on the ground and through the air. The offense looked the best they've looked all through camp. Not going against our own defense. We look pretty damn good. Miami's offense was without top wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for most team periods, which is important to note. but Detroit's defense reaffirmed what we've been seeing from them all camp. One thing that really stood out was Detroit was noticeably the more physical football team. St. Brown Magic. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Miami's quarterbacks had no answer for the Lions' veteran wide receiver in any portion of Wednesday's practice. The first rep in one-on-ones of open practice was Amon-Ra St. Brown beating Dolphins cornerback Jack Jones down the left sideline for a touchdown. St. Brown won all 4 one-on-one reps with another touchdown. It didn't stop on 7 and 17 periods, whether it was short, intermediate, or deep routes for St. Brown. He consistently created separation and space, and he and Goff were on the same page all morning. St. Brown had double-digit catches with multiple touchdowns, including one where he pinned the ball against Miami defender's helmet and got both feet inbounds for a touchdown. First team reps. It's always interesting to see which of the young players or veterans who normally play a lot of backup reps get first team reps in joint practice. Some of those names Wednesday were wide receiver Jackson Meeks and wide receiver Isaac Tesla, wide receiver Ronnie Bell, cornerback Nick Whiteside, safety Ian Kennelly, and cornerback Eric Hallett. There are some names on there we like. We like Isaac Tesla, obviously Isaac Tesla, but we also really like Ian Kennelly. And what we seen Friday out of Jackson Meeks was inspiring. Is it inspiring enough to make the 53-man roster? There are way too many guys ahead of you, Jackson Meeks, but I like what I've seen. Officials. Wednesday's joint practice marked the first time Lions had officials at practice. There's usually so many flags that the first day with officials, they'll have to ice their arm after practice. I was pleasantly surprised by the Lions secondary not making Wednesday a penalty fest. There were a few illegal contacts and interference penalties here and there, but not as many as we typically see the first day with officials. Situational football. The team ran an end of half situation where both offenses got the football on their own 30-yard line with 54 seconds on the clock and 2 timeouts in a 10-10 game. Miami's offense was up first, and Detroit's defense held them to a turnover on downs on 4 plays that included 2 short completions, a false start penalty, and a Meek Robertson pass breakup and an incompletion on 4th down. Detroit's offense was surgical moving down the field. St. Brown had a 25-yard reception over the middle on the first play of the period. That was followed up by catches from tight end Brock Wright, whose brother's name is Chuck Steak, and Bell to get the Lions and the Dolphins' 27-yard line with 23 seconds left on the clock. Tight end Shane Zylstra added an 8-yard reception, followed by an illegal contact penalty that Miami to give the Detroit Lions great field position and time on the clock before the drill was called by head coach Dan Campbell. O-line play, something we were kind of watch, all of our starters out there. Taylor Decker said after practice Wednesday, it was the best the offensive line has looked in camp. They were opening huge holes, big gaping holes in the run game, and kept Goff clean all afternoon in the pass game. It trickled down to the second and third units, too. Miami head coach Mike McDaniel said before Wednesday's practice he wanted to participate in these sessions because of the physicality in which Detroit plays the game. That was on full display throughout practice as Detroit's offensive line was dominant. Trio of INTs. Detroit's second-team defense got a trio of interceptions from Whiteside, Kennelly, and Hallett off Dolphins quarterback Zach Milf Wilson. The Lions have been emphasizing takeaways, and coaches and players always say they come in bunches. In the 7-on-7 period, that was certainly the case. Speed and spin. I think we know who that's about. I cannot wait to watch the Lions edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson September 7th in Green Bay for the opener. He had football taken away from him after only 5 games last season and has taken it out on every player lined up across from him this entire camp. He hit Miami right tackle Larry Borum with the speed move around the edge, and the next rep put him on the skates with the spin inside. That's a deadly combo for Hutchinson and really tough to stay in front of. We do know Aiden Hutchinson's got that dominant spin move. JG16 for MVP's afternoon. Goff was terrific leading the Lions offense Wednesday as Detroit's offense won every period versus Miami's defense. He was particularly sharp in an early team period, going 5 of 5 with completions to tight end Sam Laporta, St. Brown, and wide receiver Khalif Raymond. He was 4 for 4 in later red zone periods, throwing a touchdown to St. Brown, a touchdown to wide receiver Jamison Williams, and another completion to Laporta. Impressing the vets. There were a couple of skirmishes in practices between the two teams, and the first was a minor dust-up with some pushing between Tesla and Jones following a run play in which Tesla was trying to be a physical blocker, which Jones took exception to. You love to see young guys compete. That's the biggest thing, St. Brown said of his rookie teammate after practice. Isaac is putting his head in there blocking, and that's something I feel as a young guy, us older players respect that. That's just telling us that when he's out there with us on Sunday, he's going to put his life on the line and go block that safety. For young guys to go out there and put their head in there and hit guys maybe they've never hit, it's one more thing they can do. Hell yeah, and that's something we like to see out of Tesla. We like our wide receivers to block downfield, you know. Rabiz is gone. He bailed on the chat, but that's something that Jameson Williams does really, 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 really well. Should we watch the Lions' first joint practice takeaways from Motor City Dan Campbell? Yeah, might as well. We ain't got nothing really going on. It's 5 minutes after 11. We got a few more minutes we can just kind of cook off here. It's still pretty nice out. Oh, wow, it spiked up to 75 degrees. I'm going to get out there and cut the grass here pretty soon. And then going to make my way over to Sportsman's Warehouse because they had a couple magazines, Glock 17 magazines that I could get a nice package deal on that were, they're not Glock 17s, but they are a little bit, they're not from Glock, but they're modified a little bit nicer, a little bit newer, a little bit fresher. And they came in a dual pack, so we're going to head out that way. Let's go ahead and watch Campbell's first joint practice takeaways. Whoops.
About today, really these next 2 days to get some work with
Joseph
Dolphins.
Austin, hell yeah, brother.
Kind of mentioned this, man. They got really good personnel, good scheme.
Is there any way else to really enjoy cutting grass? You know what I'm saying?
And it's somebody different, so just gives us a chance to kind of work against different, like I say, different types of looks and athletes. And anyway, it's awesome. So we're fired up about this. We're looking forward to it. Questions?
You sense some excitement from the players, too? I mean, dog days, well, practicing, you get sick of hitting guys, Did you sense a little maybe different atmosphere amongst the guys?
For sure. I mean, the guys know this is, as with anything, our guys love competing, and it's when you go against each other every day, at some point you've seen about all you can see out of each other, and doesn't mean you're still not trying to win, but now you get somebody else, man, that has different moves and different footwork and different styles, and you have to adjust quickly, but you're trying to win, right? You're competing, and that's the best, so our guys they're excited.
Is there anything that gravitates you more than others, maybe different position groups and anything else?
No, I mean, obviously, I'm going to stay on the offensive field, just, and then one-on-ones, I kind of always hover around the backs and tight ends. That's just me. But either way, what I don't see, to be able to watch the tape, I'm excited about. We'll have one-on-ones, we'll have some group, we'll have red zone third, and we're going to have it all, really. So this will be good.
In the past, you've talked about how you look at the joint practices for the starters as more important than the preseason games. So with that, will we see primarily starters today, and will we see a lot more younger guys kind of working with the first team for opportunities?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it. It's really two groups. That's probably the best way to think about it. Certainly the quarterbacks will be working that second group. They'll be rotating, but it's really a ones and twos, and so that's where we get. This is really where we get our good work with that first group. And yes, there'll be a few young guys that'll get worked in with those groups to see how they, how they do against Miami's ones on offense and defense and special teams. So we'll get a good look.
Vaki, is he still out? And beyond if he's out or not, just how much has this been a setback for him? He's still pretty new to running back to miss this.
The plan is for Vaki to be out there today. He's going to get some individual, some group, and then we're going to put him in a couple of team reps and see how he adjusts, see what he can handle, and if he can handle it, then maybe he gets a little more. So he's actually, as of today, ready to start doing some stuff. And yeah, it's always, when you can't practice, always a setback, especially when he's only had very few days to where he was in. But you know what? It is what it is, and that's behind you, and you got to call this day one. What are you going to do about it? And so it's just good to get him back on the grass.
About a week into camp, we asked about some of your young edge rushers with opportunities, guys that were coming back.
Here we go. Let's talk about the edge rushers.
You've got two preseason games under your belt now, a few more practices. What is your evaluation of how those young guys are coming along?
I think all those guys improved. I really thought even the other night, I thought all those guys showed a little bit and showed some improvement over a week period.
Yep.
So that was good to see. You know, Nate Lynn made a couple of plays, had a couple of rushes there. Cooper.
Our whole team really showed a huge step forward between the Hall of Fame game and the Atlanta game. There was massive steps of production for most players. Obviously, some players, Hendon Hooker, didn't do shit with the week, but our defensive line had a lot better push. I think against Atlanta, and obviously Kyle Allen really stepped up.
I think continues to show that he has some versatility, which is good. And Uku hit a long arm, and we know what Mitch is capable of. So I just think they've all improved. It's good to see. It's a pretty good competition right now.
In which ways are these joint practices more productive than even the preseason games, as far as do you meet with Mike ahead of time and like, this is a look we want, and vice versa?
Well, I think because you know you're going to be able to get what you want to get for sure. Like you don't have to worry about what, you get in one of these games and you can't convert on a third down, which nobody wants that. None of us want any of that, or you don't ever get in the red zone. And whereas now you'll make sure you get those looks against that opponent. So you're going to get the work first, second down, third down, red zone, maybe backed up, a short yardage. All of those you will work in, and it's in a controlled environment, right? I think all of those things help. So that's the advantage of it, and you get all of it.
Dan, when people look at these two teams, two very fast wide receivers, Jamison Williams, Tyreek Hill. What would be your supporting argument why Jamison would win a race over Tyreek Hill?
Because he's
I'm not
faster.
getting into that.
Because
It's a
he's
lot of
faster
speed.
and younger and faster. Because he's faster, younger, and faster. That's why he's fast. Jameson Williams is faster than Tyreek Hill. Period. Point blank.
Right, that'd be a lot of speed on one field. Imagine all three of them out there on the same team together. All right, that's what I think about. But no, I'm not getting into all that, man. That's a ton of speed.
Dan Campbell is just a hell of a coach, Joseph. Yeah, brother. You just love the man, right? It's hard to not love Dan Campbell.
What do you like about his eagerness?
It's just like impossible. How can you not love Dan Campbell, dude?
Kind of embrace that challenge head on and use it as a learning opportunity.
Well, I've said this before, man. When you go against some really good players, and particularly if you have to go against them day after day after day, you either crumble or you get better. You have no choice.
Yeah, I'd put money on J-Mo too, dude.
Those players will bury you.
Bro, it wouldn't even be a race. J-Mo would cook Tyreek. Tyreek is a little shorter. He might have a little, more burst off the line, but once J-Mo gets up into gear, he's gone. Dude, J-Mo could probably fucking catch Tyreek, pass him, and then, Usain Bolt with his arms down, just kind of fuck it. Whoa, look how fast I am the last 10 yards as he just cooks Tyreek, dude. J-Mo's got them wheels, brother.
They will bury you. And so I feel like as long as he stays open and he doesn't lose confidence and he keeps trying to hone his craft against those players, he will elevate. And he's there right now. I feel like he's trying to learn. He's trying to get better. And, and so that's really all you can ask for right now.
Another chapter in Aiden's return to football action. How much will you keep maybe an eye from across the field just to see him against other jerseys today?
Well, I think I'll always, if I'm on the offensive field, I'm always going to peek over there at the defense whenever I can get a minute, to see what's going on. But most of that will be caught up with the tape. But I'm always eager. I'm eager to see what Davenport looks like.
Hell yeah. Davenport.
I'm eager to see what Tyreek looks like. And I can go across the board, man. I want to know our defense looks good, and I want to know our defense is what I think it is right now, and so I'm pretty excited. And this is a good opponent to go against. It's a good offense, They run a good scheme, good system. They got speed on the perimeter. Some of their stuff in the run game is unique, and it's tricky. It'll cause you to have some dirty eyes if you're not careful. So we're going to have to be disciplined. That's the other thing, right? You got to be ready to go, but you better be disciplined in your keys.
just your ability, or a coach's ability, I guess, to connect with players. Like you and Mike are two, different personalities, I think, different people, but you both seem to have that relationship with your players. How much is just genuineness, like how important is that to that relationship?
Yeah, I don't, it's probably a better question for players than me. I just think, I think it's as important to be who you are. That's
Hell
probably
yeah.
the best way to say it. Because
Don't be a
players see
poser.
through-
That's the one thing that I love about both head coaches, Mike McDaniel and Dan Campbell. Those dudes are unapologetically themselves. Like, they don't pull any punches. What you fucking see is what you fucking get. And they are two very drastically different personalities, but both 100% genuine. And that's why I like Mike McDaniel, man. I think he's goofy. I think he's funny, but bro, I'm a millennial. I fucking hate posers, dude. And both of these guys are genuine and authentic, and that's what I fucking love about them, guys. So it's awesome to see J-Mo untouched with a 75-yard wide receiver sweep to the house. Dude, J-Mo, I know I talk shit about J-Mo, right? But when he's on, Jameson Williams is a problem for the NFL. So, guys, one last look at the poll here. Wow, 23 votes. You guys crushed it today. Does Micah Parsons rep the star in 2025? Does he stay with the Dallas Cowgirls? 65% of the vote saying yes, Dallas cannot let him go. 13% of you tied. Jerry's eyes are too far apart. My eyes aren't too far apart. And bring him to America's real team, that being the Detroit Motor City. 13% of you say that. 9% of you say no, he does not play for the Stars, that Jerry is a tool. So we're going to go ahead and close that poll down. I appreciate you guys taking advantage and interacting with the poll there. Today has been a very successful day, guys. One last shout out to Roar of the Lions, UK. That's right, over in the UK. Our friends on the other side of the Freedom Pond, the wrong side of the Freedom Pond. But, hey, they're our friends nonetheless, and they're reaching out, trying to help us here in the Motor City. They will be doing a 24-hour Detroit Lions charity live stream. 50% of the proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity of Michigan. 50% of the proceeds go to Maggie's, everyone's home for cancer care over in the UK. They will be having amazing guests, such as Jeremy Reisman, Pride of Detroit, who we read regularly. Jeff Risden from Lions Wire, we read him regularly. And, of course, we can't forget the biggest and hardest-hitting name in Lions content on YouTube, Mike Kimber. Let's go. There is a link provided down in my description. You can go and donate. When you do, just type a little note in there and let them know the Hat and Beard Show sent you. We've been having a few of those guys trickle on over. We welcome them with open arms over here to the freedom side of the pond. Guys, today we talked about, Jerry Jones and how far apart his eyes are. I'm sorry, Micah Parsons and his contract disputes with the Dallas Cowboys. And we talked about a secret war developing in Detroit and what I think could be a sneaky move for a running back 3 spot. That's right, Jalen Sailors could be battling for a 4th, if not the 3rd running back spot, simply because Craig Reynolds starting to run her out of real estate, dude. Them wheels don't turn as much as they did. And Jalen Sailors got a little bit more pump, a little more oomph, a little bit more pizzazz. I like what I see out of Sailors, so it's something to keep an eye on. And then we talked about nationally. The Dolphins encountered a frustrating day for the Lions in joint practices. It was pretty ugly for the Miami Dolphins when they rolled into the buzzsaw that is the Motor City. We got some highlights here from, we watched Amon-Ra just cooking Miami's DBs all day long. Make sure and check that out. And then finally, we talked about day one observations from our guy, Tim 20-Man, senior beat writer over at DetroitLions.com. And it was a nice little self-glaze. Hopefully things keep trending that way. I do want to say thank you to everybody. Today we had a lot of viewers. A lot of people tuned in. Wow, 155 of you. 16 of you in here hanging out right now. That's insane. It's a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. That's crazy. I didn't fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what's up. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All of you guys who've been doing the yeoman's work with your Adonis-like shoulders and your just godlike quads, doing the heavy lifting, sharing this video around with everybody. You're helping the channel grow tremendously. When we hit 700 subscribers, we're going to start dual streaming to rumble.com. It'll be a little bit more free speech over there. Don't worry. We're going to still be here at YouTube, too. We're just going to be double dipping, trying to grow the brand for the brand. Finally, go ahead and ring all my bells and poke all my buttons, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. here at youtube.com, exclusively streaming from Grandma's Studio 1. Look, dude, if you ring that notification bell, all you got to do, it'll make it easy for you. When I go live, it's just going to send you a push button notification. Just select that son of a bitch, just click it, and it's going to bring you right to the show. You can take part of, engage in the chat, take part in the polls, holler at me, try and change my opinion. One Pride Worldwide, let's go. Brent DeWitt, you guys, and share this video around with all your friends. It's the fastest way to grow the channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we love about you. That's going to be it for today. Guys, until tomorrow at 10 a.m., stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. We'll see you tomorrow. Bonga, bonga. Frig off.